Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Sivonnia DeBarros, who's the founder and principal attorney of SL DeBarros Law Firm. And we want to welcome you to the show, Sivonnia. I'm looking forward to talking to you, learning from you, because I see that you have such a vast experience and client base. So welcome to the show.
Hi, Mike. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's a definite pleasure to be here.
Yeah, give me a little bit of background on yourself. And I understand you're a first-generation business owner. I know that's a really wonderful thing, so we want to focus on that as well.
Well, it's wonderful, but it also has its own minor challenges within that. So I'm originally from Florida, and I came up here to Chicago to practice law. One of the things that attracted me to be in this area was the diversity that Chicago has. And when I got here, though, one of the major challenges that I faced was being able to network with people, knowing what was going on in the legal community, but also from the standpoint of being a first-generation lawyer, not knowing what the heck I was doing.
Yeah.
So every time you're the first to do something, there's always a level of difficulty that is met. I'm not the first African-American lawyer, in this nation by far. However, being the first one in my family, being the first one of attorneys that I knew, because before this, I didn't know anyone who was a female and a lawyer.
Yeah.
Who moved, over 1,600 miles away to practice law. So that in itself was very difficult, but that's a little bit about me. I've been practicing now for 6 years, and I primarily focus in the areas of business, sports and entertainment, and labor and employment.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about what you just said just a second ago, because it's an achievement enough to have JD after your name and get your law degree, no matter what your age or gender or background. So that's, a huge feather in your cap. But then you had that additional thing of being first generational and really moving to a new area, as well as launching and really starting your own business. Because if you don't go work for a firm, then you're a business owner. And a lot of times I hear that whether you're a chiropractor or a doctor or a lawyer, they don't give you a vibrant set of classes in law school to
Right.
Here's how to start your business the right way, and here's how to succeed. It's like a paragraph in a test or something.
Right. It's literally, and I wish law school would prepare people for this, because I had always said that I wanted to own my own firm. And so that also takes me into a different direction in this conversation too. Be careful what you ask for, because I'm also, I believe in God. So, I do believe that we will receive the things that we ask for, but you need to be specific about it. So I said I wanted to own my own law firm, and unfortunately I owned it a lot sooner than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Law school did not prepare me for coming out being a law business owner. I think what probably helped me, and as I looked back years later, is I realized how entrepreneurial I was before I even got to that level. I remember being in high school, middle school, where have you, but making my own money. So I love drawing. I'm very creative. And kids would see me drawing and doodling, and then they would ask me, well, hey, Sivonnia, can you draw my initials? And I would tell them, yeah, but this is how much it costs.
Yeah.
And then over the summer, because one year my mom got so upset with us, and she said, okay, well, I'm not buying anyone school clothes. I was like, okay, whatever. So I would literally have my house booked up for hair appointments during the summer. That's all I did was people's hair. And I made money. I bought myself clothes. I bought my siblings clothes, so when I started really thinking about all these things, I kind of went back into myself. I'm like, well, hold on. I'm pretty entrepreneurial myself. I kind of have already that business mindset inside of me. Now I just got to tap into that, because I did not have an educational foundation in the sense of what what tools do I really need to actually start a law business and be successful at it? Law school does not teach you that, but it does give you a basic foundation of where to start with the law per se, so that you know how to find the answers for your clients.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. And of course, that's a jumping off point that we can spend about 4.5 more hours on. So let's just suffice it to say that you need to be an expert in your industry and take ownership of yourself. And when opportunity presents itself, be ready, because that's really when like one of the definitions of success is when preparation meets opportunity, because you can't just go, oh, hold up, pause. So when you're looking back at this, what did you find was one of the greatest challenges of starting your own firm and then moving forward to growing it? And then how did you overcome that?
Oh my gosh, Mike, one of the biggest challenges I found or faced was not having the support system and not truly knowing how to network.
Yeah.
A lot of people, even in my industry, a lot of people already have a support system within their own family, because their family probably has, done the same thing or have connections with people who've done whatever their kid is doing. I didn't have that. I couldn't pick up the phone and call my mom, and say, well, hey, can you tell me what I need to do because I'm completely stuck? No, I could call her and vent, but there was no, critical information she could really give me, because this is not her thing. So that's one of the biggest challenges. There are programs out there where, people will sell their services for however many dollars. But to be honest with you, a lot of them are, I call robbery, because if you're really not sure about what you're doing, what you need to do, you really can't hone in on what the value is for what you're paying for and if it will really work for you in the long run.
Yeah.
As far as networking goes, I think I really got a hang of this really just a few years ago. And I taught this to my little brother. And one of the conversations I had with him, I said, look, you need to follow up with whomever you meet, but make sure from the get-go that you're in the right rooms. So I was in the wrong rooms. So one aspect of clientele that I'm passionate about is women in business.
Okay.
I was going to certain women events, but it wasn't the right events for me. So although I followed up, there was still no communication after that, or, no people to really say, hey, I want in on this, because I was in the wrong rooms, and those rooms were not feeding or fueling my passion, if that makes any sense. It
totally does. You got to fish in the right pond, like for instance, if you're selling luxury homes, you're not going to go put flyers, in the low rent district, so it's
Correct.
Obvious, but I feel that a lot of people that are business owners, women business owners, male, it doesn't matter. They just feel like I got to get out there and be all things to all people. So that is a huge mistake. And I know I made that mistake in my practice for many, many years. And then about 4 years ago, really zeroed in on one specific aspect of helping entrepreneurs become that best, with the best foot forward by being seen as that expert and authority. So when you are saying you're focusing on women-owned business and athletes and things like that, let's kind of shift into a little bit more of what your focus is, what you do for your clients, and what sets you apart. Because I think that's a really, really big piece.
Okay. Absolutely. So for one, how I got to this particular demographic is I ended up having to look inside of who Sivonnia was as a person, because several years ago, I found myself just steadily in court litigating cases that really add no value to me, to my life, to my purpose of being a lawyer. And I felt like I was representing clients who didn't recognize or appreciated the value that I was providing them. And so I felt like a hamster, just grinding the wheel every day. And I said, there has to be something better than this. And when I just sat down and really thought about who it is that I want to represent, I thought about who I was as a person. Okay, well, I am a first generation lawyer and law business owner. We talked about that. I'm a woman. And I'm also a former athlete. Now, I'm not a professional athlete, but I'm a former athlete. I did run track and field at a D1 university in Tampa. Yeah. And so I said, okay, that's who I want to represent. I'm passionate about me. I know what I want to do. I know what I love. So why don't I represent those individuals who also represent a part of who I am as a person, to my core. And so that's how I got down to who it is that I truly want to represent. These three demographics have something in common: women, first generation business owners, and professional athletes. Most of them do not have the support system, like I talked about before, that they need to be successful. Most of them go to people who are basically robbing them blind, and then they still come out of whatever process they're in confused and not truly understanding where it is that they want to take their business. So what sets me apart from other law firms or law business owners is, number one, I'm not going to bill you by the hour just to tell you what you need to do. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to educate you, because that's the biggest thing that you need. So some people will come to me, they have an idea of what they want to do, but it's until we really unpackage all of their ideas and really see how they want this thing to work out that they can truly understand where they want to take their business. So I want to educate them, and then I want to also guide them in the legal aspects of their business. So having an attorney on board will help them to get in front of any issues before they completely get out of control, which is, what has happened in the past when business owners come to me. They come to me after they have a major issue in their business or a partnership dispute, and now things are just completely thrown off course. They're losing a whole lot of money, possibly going to lose the business. So that's what I do. That's what sets me apart. I want to make sure that my clients have the support that they need and have also a team that can help guide them in every aspect of their business. So one thing that I've been working on and definitely pushing with my clients is, when you come on board with me, you come on with a complete team. So whether you need a branding agent, a sports agent, a tax attorney, an accountant, what have you, I have core members who are ready and able to assist you, so that number one, they're coming from someone that you trust, and number two, you don't have to spend countless hours going out there interviewing everyone. You come in knowing that you already have the framework to be successful.
That's really huge that you bring up team, because I would suspect that there are different members on your team that have strengths that you don't have, and that's
Correct.
the reason why you brought them on.
Correct. I can't, you can go and try to wear all these hats, but you can't wear every single hat if you want to really run a successful business.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest qualities of any business owner, is knowing when to delegate certain things. And not only that, but just as a licensed attorney, there are some things that I'm not going to delve into for liability purposes. If I know I'm not a tax attorney, I'm not doing your taxes.
Yes.
Now, I understand taxes enough to the point where I can truly educate my clients on what entity they probably should register, so that they can try and save as much of their money as possible. But I'm not gonna go further than that, because that's not a hat that I, number one, want to wear, and two, I want to make sure that you're getting the expert advice that you need, so that you can save your money, or either reinvest that into your business versus paying IRS.
Yeah, really, really good point. And you know what? I think that here's what some people really don't pick up on, and I love how you kind of distinguished your competitive advantage, where. And I know this is sounds like I'm making it up, but literally this is the truth. One of my wife's parents years ago had an issue with some land that they had inherited, and there was a gas station next to the land that leached some oil underneath the ground, and it came over into my in-laws' side of the land. It was raw land, and there was a gas station next door. Anyway, the EPA was involved, and it was just a massive legal issue they had to clear up. And I distinctly remember them exclaiming one day that they got their bill from their attorney, and there were a certain number of hours that were on the monthly bill where they put on there, thinking about your case. And and I know that's
my
not
God.
uncommon, but I think that's the point you're trying to make with your clients is, look, I'm not going to nickel and dime you, and I'm going to give you great advice, and it doesn't have to be, by the hour all the time. It's going to be, let's give you results, and
Right.
you're going to pay me for my knowledge to give you those results.
Right. And not only that too, but when I really got down to thinking about how I can truly revamp my practice and just the law business in general for business clients, billing people by the hour is just not a model that they can afford, really.
Yeah.
When you are a business owner, you are budgeting what your fees are going to be, and it just makes more sense to say, if you know how much your lawyer costs, you can easily budget for it. But if there is, these billable hours, and like you said, with the example, if someone's nickel and dime you start talking about thinking about, number one, I don't even think that's ethical.
Yeah, really.
But, it's going to be an issue where the lawyer is going to turn into a bill collector now, because the business owner have not budgeted for whatever fees are over and beyond what they thought they were going to be paying. But two, do I really want to go and have to try to collect on a bill that I probably will never get paid on? That's extra time and energy that I can be putting into something else.
That's a really good point. And I think for your business owner clients, that illustrates something which is called opportunity cost. Because
True.
If you're focused on one thing, you cannot be focused on the other thing. And
Correct.
I'm sure that there are times that business owners could go, well, I can research this piece, or I can make sure that I'm doing some Google searches on this. And maybe it's not actual, the legalities of filing motions or things for my business, but I could probably figure it out. Well, that energy you're exerting and that uncertainty is an opportunity cost that if you just have the right person handling it, you can rest assured and you can focus that energy on moving your business forward.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And the same principles apply to professional athletes. So when you think about pros, most of them are trying to get into business or have already started a business or have invested into someone else's business. They don't have the time like general business owners do to, go and do every aspect, of the business or engage with every person who's working in their business. So if you know what your fee is, what you're paying for, who does what job, then you as a pro can rest assured too that this particular thing is being handled for this amount of money.
And I would suspect that pros are commonly taken advantage of. So when you can come in with that authenticity and transparency, I would think that that's a really, really big piece that they're looking for.
Right. And that's, that was another reason too why I wanted to make sure I had a plan for these business owners, whether you were a woman, first generation, or a pro, where you know what your costs are up front. Pros are generally taken advantage of by people, and I think it helps them to make a really educated and sound decision when they can see what it is that they're actually paying for up front. Now, of course, with the guys, that there are some things that come up that you can't necessarily plan for, but for them to understand, for the most part, if I need a business audit, this is how much it costs.
Yeah.
If I need to trademark something, this is how much it costs. And that helps to build trust with this particular clientele, because there are so many people out there who are just lurking behind them to try and not only just nickel and dime them, but really take them for everything that they're worth. I interviewed several former NFLers probably about a year or two ago, and some of the common issues were that their financial advisors were literally, they stole over, 6 figures from them. And I just could not understand how someone could allow an individual to do that, but they didn't know that they should have independent legal counsel, and then they weren't aware that they could file a lawsuit.
Wow.
So, and it just really, it hurt me so bad that people were getting away with this. But this is also one of those reasons why I know that educating my clients is more important than me providing them legal advice, because they need to know what their legal rights are within their business, what their obligations are, and also understanding that if you're coming in with me and we have this team framework for you, it also provides a checks and balances, because no one can really make a move without the other one knowing about it.
You bring up a good point there with that example of the athletes, and it's really, in my opinion, not their fault in this respect, because I don't live in the athletic world, but I can only imagine that they have literally lived in a bubble their whole life, from Pop Warner sports all the way up to the NFL, where their whole day in life is training and practicing and focusing, and they really are not savvy with what's going on out there in the business side of things. Correct. And they feel like everyone's coming to them and they love the attention, and that's great. But when are people coming to them to take advantage of them? And so it really isn't their fault. So when they can come to someone like yourself with that authentic approach and go, look, let me just teach you, let me just educate you and be your advocate and show you what to look for, what you make a decision. I'm not selling you myself, but here's what you should consider. And I would suspect that that's a wonderful breath of fresh air.
It is. It absolutely is. And Mike, I'm also authoring a new book. I haven't released it yet. We're working on the cover, but in this book, I truly break down some of the most basic business principles and issues of investing to educate professional athletes, whether they are prospective, current, or former. If you're getting into business, these are the tips that you need to take with you. And in this book, I go through some of the examples of individuals who've lost, their livelihood pretty much for one reason or another, because either they are, going with people who are, who have the really good lip service, it sounds good, so it must be true type of thing. And they fall victim to these individuals who are preying on them. Yeah. And so I want to really educate them and explain to them, hey, here's what you need to do to truly set up a successful business. Here are some questions that you should ask when you run into these particular professionals, so you're not caught off guard or become a professional victim. You don't want to do that. So I cannot wait for this book to drop. It's called What Are You Sporting About? And the title really urges the reader to think about, why am I really getting into this? No matter if you're going into pro sports or something else, we are all sporting about something in life. Yeah. And at the end of the day, if it's not pushing you towards your purpose, then why are you doing it?
Yeah. Well, it's in the business world, it's just like the Simon Sinek book, begin with why. And Jim Rohn used to teach begin with the end in mind, and being able to see where you want to go, whether it's in sports or personal or business or any aspect of our life, what's driving us? Because if we're pushed, we feel pushed, but if we're drawn to something, and again, that could be spiritual, personal, business wise, then that gives us that passion and to fulfill that purpose. And then it becomes simple. So I really love the book concept that you're talking about, because it's going to be educational and prevent some things from happening, teach some people what to watch out for. So I really think that's a wonderful, wonderful approach. And I don't see that often. Most of the time it's just, hey, athlete, come invest your trillions of dollars with me. No, how about this?
Here's how you can make fast money.
Yeah, right. Here's a pair of special glasses I'm going to give you, quote unquote, where it's going to show you how to perceive when people are coming after you and what you can do to prevent. And if it's happened, take advantage of it. So I really, really love that concept. So when that comes out, I'm sure that people can find that on your website, and I'll make sure to post that link up on our show notes, sldebarros.com. But any final thoughts? What's the best way that someone could reach out to you? Do you offer any type of an introductory consultation? And then what's the best way they can reach out to you?
I do. So the best way you can reach out to me is either through social media or by email. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram at SL DeBarros Law. I'm on Twitter at SL DeBarros_law. And LinkedIn, I think I'm just by SL DeBarros Law.
Just search for my name and you'll find me.
Yeah, search for my name, you'll find me.
That's awesome.
Email is sdebarros at sldebarros.com. I do have some entry or consultation appointments that folks can book. You can go on my website and hit the contacts tab and complete a very small intake form, and you will be sent an email with those particular options available.
Perfect. Well, Sivonnia, thank you so much for your time today. It was really wonderful talking with you, and I love your approach to your practice.
Thank you so much, Mike. It was a pleasure to be here and to speak with you as well.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.